Today, government wishes to interact with the nation through the media in order that as government we pronounce ourselves on certain issues of national importance and of consequence that we feel we need to pronounce ourselves to our citizens, so that we are at all times be in one accord with the people who elected this government. The government has taken note of a number of concerns and or statements that have been issued by some sections of our society, including and particularly of consequence from the church leadership. Not too long ago, a statement attributable to the Most Reverend Ignatius Chama, Bishop for Kasama, has generated interesting national debate. That statement may not stand alone, as other statements related to that statement referring to Bill 7 and the need by citizens to reject Bill 7 have been made. We wish as government, firstly, to say President Hakainde Hichilema is a listening president, and the New Dawn administration is a listening government. Therefore, government appreciates the role that the church plays, not just in terms of the spiritual development of our people, but in national governance, particularly in the participation of the church in the uplifting and improvement of the livelihoods of our people by participating in the education sector, participating in the health sector. Therefore, your government, the New Dawn administration, is cognizant of the fact that the church is an integral part of the governance of this country. And President Hakainde Hichilema would like to continue with that tradition of the church being at the center of the governance of our country. We would like to indicate, therefore, that relevant going forward, we call upon the church, the entire church leadership, we call upon civil society actors like the Oasis Forum and any other such formations of entities that are an integral stakeholder interest group in the governance of our country, to know that the New Dawn administration continues to govern this country on the basis of an open door policy. If there are issues of concern plaguing our people or some people, President Hakainde Hichilema and his administration are willing to dialogue. We believe in peaceful means of resolving national issues and not calling out citizens to go on the streets. Yes, that is a human right, and it is guaranteed by our Constitution that citizens can peaceably mobilize themselves into a procession or a gathering to express themselves about something they are concerned with, either to government or to whoever that is intended to be communicated to. But that right alone does not exist with limitless bounds, because certain individuals who may not be the initial originators of the idea to go out and communicate a particular message in public may take advantage of such processions to engage into the breach of public peace. We are now just at the advent of the general elections for 2026. And so, there are a lot of political interests out there playing out that might seize that moment to destabilize the peace that we are enjoying as a people, if we then decide to resolve our issues of concern through public processions or demonstrations. President Hakainde Hichilema directed the Minister of Justice to defer Bill 7 in order to allow a wider window of opportunity to engage into dialogue, so that concerns that some stakeholders had could be brought on board. And part of that process included the formulation of the Constitutional Technical Committee, which has been going around the country to gather views from the citizens so that a movement on Bill 7 can be informed by views from the citizens. So, this is not a fighting matter. This is a talking matter. A constitution is a document for all Zambians. And therefore, all Zambians, not some, should have an equal say on the constitution in order to garner minimum national consensus to give the constitution the legitimacy it requires for it to carry not just the force of law of enforceability, but also the moral legitimacy arising out of stakeholder buy-in through participation and involvement in the constitutional amendment or making process. That is why President Hakainde Hichilema took on board the views and concerns that were raised by the citizens. Let me also indicate here, and do I need to remind the nation, that this is not the first time the country is going for a constitutional amendment. It's not the first time government is proposing a constitutional amendment. In 2021, ahead of the elections, there was a proposed bill to amend the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia called Bill 10. The nation will recall that that matter was resolved amicably within the infrastructure of government apparatus that we have configured and given unto ourselves as a means of governing ourselves. That is to say, through Parliament, Bill 10 was brought to Parliament, and in December 2020, it was deferred, just like Bill 10. Just like Bill 7. It was deferred to the sitting of Parliament of 2021 February. There was no stone throwing. There was no group or interest stakeholder entity that incited or encouraged citizens to go on the streets to perform acts of civil disobedience. There was none. So what has changed? There is nothing that has changed. We still have room as a people to come around a dialogue table to bring on board concerns that anybody or any group or organization may be having. The elections are around the corner, and we have a duty as government to ensure that the peace of this our country is maintained. And we know that for that to be the case, all stakeholder players in the governance of the country, central to that, the church leadership, civil society leaders, we must be in one accord. Every general election is a potentially hazardous opportunity for any country for political instability if the leaders of such a country do not pull in one direction. This certainly is our calling to all leaders from the church, from civil society, from political parties, that let us pull in the direction of peace, in the direction of unity of this country. Because on that platform of national peace and unity, we should then give leverage to promote the economic transformative agenda that this country is presently going through under the able leadership of President Hakainde Hichilema. All Zambians know that in terms of the economy, President Hakainde Hichilema is doing the right things. And all economic indicators show that this economy is now rebounding from just recovery into transformation towards equilibrium of stability and resilience. That is the vision of President Hakainde Hichilema. He needs the solidarity of all the citizens of this country. We are also not oblivious as a government that there are issues affecting the nation for which President Hakainde Hichilema is working tirelessly round the clock, such as fixing the load shedding, the electricity question in the nation, because that is the elephant in the room. And the nation is well aware of the mechanisms of governmental interventions that President Hakainde Hichilema has promulgated from the time we were faced with the worst debilitating drought, the worst in living memory, where the president, as leader of this country, told the nation, told the citizens that let us flip the coin of that misfortune into an opportunity now to aggressively, robustly, and meaningfully invest in alternative power generation. That is the journey this country is presently on, and we look forward with confidence that once that issue of electricity is fixed, then President Hakainde Hichilema will be given sufficient space to do what he knows best, to fix the economy, in order to uplift and improve the livelihoods of our people. May I also take this opportunity to address one issue which people are asking for us as a government and a party in government to comment on the recent happenings in the Patriotic Front. We would like to indicate here that as a party in government, we do sympathize with our colleagues in the Patriotic Front, with the wrangles and divisions that are widening, tearing apart that particular organization. As Zambians, our culture is one. No Zambian enjoys to see the house of a neighbor in flames. We as a party in government are not happy to see the Patriotic Front in flames, because they are an integral part of the state of our democracy as a country, because they are the largest opposition political party represented in the parliament presently. And therefore, what happens in that organization is a source of our concern. Like we've stated before, they are not our political enemies. They are our political competitors. And in a healthy democracy, political competition is what gives democracy a bloodline for it to be alive and to thrive. Therefore, we wish for stability in that particular organization. We are calling on all our citizens that President Hakainde Hichilema means well. He needs the solidarity of all those who want to see a peaceful and united Zambia. Even if we may have divergent political views or other views that may be stimulated by a variety of stimuli, we are one Zambia, one nation, and let's keep our country peaceful. I thank you, citizens, for the opportunity.